get ready to get stomping and falling over before getting back up and falling over again. It weirdly reminds me of a Japanese game show. We're about to look at everything that you need to know about nectar making and the nectar making skill in The Sims 4. Let's go. Nectar is pretty much the Sims equivalent of wine, and to train the nectar making skill, you'll need to buy a nectar maker and source some ingredients. Ingredients can be bought straight from the nectar maker, foraged or grown yourself, or found while cutting down my best friend prairie grass. Okay, grass is not actually my best friend, but you get the idea. It's awesome. A patch of prairie grass costs just 5 simoleons and continues to regrow periodically even after you cut it down. And cutting it will provide you with some prairie grass as well as a huge range of other things. Most notably for nectar making, it can provide you with various ingredients and even bottles of nectar too, which can be sold or alternatively placed or stored to age. And I'll talk more about storing nectar a little bit later. Once you have gathered some ingredients, you can begin to craft nectar, which will train a Sim's nectar making skill as they work hard to produce a single bottle. While the nectar making skill only goes to level 5, know that it is a slow skill to train, and to train it faster you will want to be in the ideal mood, being energized. Having your Sim in the ideal mood while training a skill will save you around 25% of the usual training time. And if you have them in a strong very state, such as being very energized, then this will increase to save you around 35% of the usual time. As your nectar making skill level increases, you'll be able to make more types of nectar, and the nectar that you create will come out better quality more often too. Not only this, but at level 2 and level 4 of the nectar making skill, you'll make nectar faster. And at level 3, the nectar maker will become dirty slower, meaning that you won't need to spend as much time cleaning it. Finally, when you max the skill at level 5, your nectar will be made already lightly aged, essentially meaning it'll save you a good amount of time waiting for each bottle to mature fully, and that drinking the nectar instantly will have more benefits. How much nectar sells for is dependent on the type of nectar that it is, what quality it is, and most importantly its age. Nectar that you create will begin as being not yet aged, but when you place the unopened bottles in the world, the aging process will begin. They'll become lightly aged, then moderately aged, and eventually finely aged. And finely aged nectar can sell for thousands of simoleons. While you can place nectar bottles anywhere to begin the aging process, I highly suggest popping them into the Rancher's stackable nectar storage rack. This object costs 300 simoleons, and each rack will let you store up to 13 bottles of nectar, which will age while very neatly stored away. Hovering over the object will let you know how many nectar bottles are inside, and its various options allow you to very easily manage nectar based on whether it has finely aged or not. Also note that storing nectar in a basement will see it age faster too. Note that while it's great to sell finely aged nectar to make lots of money, you can also drink nectar for varying effects, and each bottle can serve up to 4 glasses. Drinking nectar will lower your Sim's bladder need and slightly increase their hunger need, and provide your Sim with a positive moodlet depending on the type of nectar that they drink. And this moodlet becomes stronger as your Sim drinks more nectar in a row, up to 3 times. But if you go beyond this limit and drink 4 times in a row, then your Sim's positive moodlet will be replaced with a very strong dazed moodlet, and their energy need will plummet before your Sim passes out. You know, at this stage your Sim is no longer trying to enjoy nectar, but rather, they're smashed. So try not to overdo your nectar drinking shenanigans. If nectar is at least lightly aged, then your Sim will experience an additional moodlet after the nectar wears off that extends the positive emotion. Now to look at each nectar. Apple nectar will give Sims an inspired moodlet, grape nectar will provide Sims with a confident moodlet, strawberry nectar sparks up a flirty moodlet, and both potato and prairie grass nectar will give your Sim a happy moodlet. Prairie grass nectar also provides your Sim with a fine moodlet and replenishes their hunger need more than other nectars, with more hunger replenished if the nectar is at least lightly aged. Now for trash nectar, which also gives Sims a fine moodlet and a strange smell which won't affect humans, but which animals will love and respond well to, with this smell getting better if the nectar is at least lightly aged. Drinking trash nectar also lowers a Sim's hygiene and gives them a happy moodlet as well. Next up is energy nectar, which provides Sims with an energized moodlet and fills up their energy need a bit too, with the energy boost improving if the nectar is at least lightly aged. Berry nectar and fruit nectar both will make your Sim feel happy, and finally there is vitality nectar, which will also make Sims feel happy, but will also lower a Sim's age by a few days, with this amount increasing if the nectar is at least lightly aged. Perhaps an even bigger perk of this nectar is that it'll revive ghost Sims and turn them back into their human form. Also, if you store this until it becomes finely aged, then it will be worth a small fortune. Literally, as vitality nectar that's both finely aged and excellent quality will be worth over 30,000 simoleons. Now, in addition to these awesome nectars, there are 3 more that can only be made by occult Sims at level 4 of the nectar making skill. Vampires can create and drink plasma nectar, which in addition to giving them a happy moodlet and increasing their thirst a little, will also replenish their vampire energy a bit too, and nectar that's at least lightly aged will replenish this a little bit more. Werewolves are able to make and drink moon petal nectar, which in addition to giving them a happy moodlet and filling their hunger a little bit, will also slightly lower their fury, with nectar that's at least lightly aged lowering it more. Note that if you drink 4 glasses in a row, then the final drink will actually raise your werewolf's fury a little bit. Finally, spellcasters are able to create and drink valerian nectar, which in addition to giving them a happy moodlet and filling their hunger need a little bit, will also lower their spellcaster charge a bit, with the amount of charge lowered increased if the nectar is at least lightly aged. Now I know you want to run off and get your Sim stomping, but just before finishing up, a few quick tips. Firstly, consider making your Sim like nectar making, as this will provide them with a happy moodlet when they create nectar. Moving on, and know that Sims with the Rancher trait have a small chance to make 2 bottles of nectar in one go. Next is that if you plan on making lots of nectar, you may want to pick up and complete the Expert Nectar Maker aspiration. Completing this will give your Sim the Nectar Know-It-All trait, which means that nectar that they make will be a little bit further along in the aging process, and from my testing, this lets nectar become finely aged around 1.5 to 2 days faster. It also stacks with the benefit from reaching level 5 of the nectar making skill too. In addition, the trait will also make it so that your Sim's bladder need doesn't take a hit when drinking nectar, and that your Sim will also get a strong, confident moodlet after drinking nectar. Moving on, and know that snobby Sims will get a happy moodlet when drinking good quality nectar. Finally, if you have the Get to Work expansion pack, then you can sell nectar in a shop for a large markup of up to 100%. Even more broken is selling nectar on sales tables, and these come with the Jungle Adventure, Eco Lifestyle, and City Living packs. Using these can let you sell nectar relatively quickly and easily for up to a 300% markup. And with that, we're at the end. That's everything you need to know about nectar making in The Sims 4. If you enjoyed or found this helpful, then please subscribe and leave a like. I would really appreciate it, and I hope that you have an amazing day. See you later.